Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. All right, I'm at the public library in Chandler to pitch a little bit my Lego ideas. Right now, I'm working on a build of the Woolworth building in New York City. And this is the third building in New York that I've done to the same scale, 500 to 1. I plan to one day join a bunch of my New York buildings together, or maybe not just New York, but other cities as well. And I don't know, it'd be kind of interesting to see. Uh, my dream that I've been envisioning is some kind of a Wikipedia of Lego buildings of the world, right? And imagine one person builds Woolworth, another might build. We already have the Empire State Building. I'm not sure about the scale, but that's not too hard to adjust, right? And then somebody might do the Freedom Tower, and then somebody might just do a random apartment in New York. And before you know it, you could join all of that together for a world, right? Be kind of interesting though, because most of the world is just rural areas with like farmland, right? But it'd be nice to see. But I want you to pray that I hit it big with one of these things. Right now, as I record, it was very hot today. Let's see if we can find out what the weather was today. Phoenix weather, 97 degrees. It was hotter earlier, though. I'm recording this at 3:30 p.m. When I got off the plane in Phoenix last month on my way back home from Taipei, I made a mistake. I had I had a friend who was very nice in letting me park at their home, but they had a very unusual street name. And when I asked the driver, "You go to so and so street," he thought he did. And he told he when he got to that street, he said, "Hey, I'm here." I got off and I looked around, didn't look quite right. And I looked at the street and he misheard me completely. And now I'm lost. Gotta keep in mind, I have two suitcases. And I ended up in, I don't know if I should publicly shame them here, but I ended up in a plaza. And got to remember, this was in August around 10:30, 11 a.m. Sun almost directly overhead. There's hardly any shades here in the Phoenix area. I sat down just leaning up against their door, and they're very upset about this. I mean, understandably, I have two suitcases. I told them I am completely lost. Could you please help me with directions? I have no data. Just got home. I actually need to go home and pay my phone bill. I have no data. Can you at least help me search something? And they refuse to even do that. Can you believe it? See, that really contrasts to when I was in Taiwan. When I was in Taiwan, there was never a shortage of people who would help you with directions, right? I was in Hsinchu, south of Taipei, and I was so lost. I ended up knocking on doors asking for directions. I didn't have any problems doing that there. It could also be cultural, right? I am Asian as well. Maybe if I were African American and doing that in Taiwan, maybe that might have turned out differently, right? I don't know. Next time I see a tourist in Taiwan who's white or African American or something else, maybe I'll ask them to as a social experiment. Let's try something. Right? I don't know. Whatever the situation is, there was a business. The owner was very upset. He shouted for somebody down the plaza to call the police or something like that. And I said, I'm sorry. I'm just going to take a break here. And he told me that there was a post office like a couple doors down. I'm like, I have no energy for any of that. And so I said, why don't we wait for the police to come? And I'm sorry. And so, long story short, I took a 5-10 minute break. The police didn't get there before I left. I don't even know if they called the police. I eventually found my way back. And it became a big reminder that I'm largely on my own here in the United States. And that's, you know, frustrations like that often give me a much needed push to forge ahead, right? Because I realize I need to get out of this situation, right? Um, I was just watching a documentary about these 6 guys who broke out of a prison in Mecklenburg, and they were in the documentary. They were talking about the one last straw. They had a guard who did whatever, right? Situations like the owner of that insurance agency wanting to call the police, or when I was dealing with COVID last summer. To give you an idea of how hot it is here, it's not even when people harass me. It's everyday life gets infinitely more tricky when it's hot. I was in the process of moving one time, and I had talked to one home, and I decided I wanted to check up on them again, but I lost their phone number. So I drove by and I decided I wanted to leave a note on the door. Could you please call me? I visited this home a few weeks ago. I'm still interested. Could you please call me? I got out of my car to knock on the door. I thought somebody might be home. Nobody was home, so I was just about to write that note. I scribbled 2 words and I realized that I can't take this anymore. I went back to my car to turn on the air conditioning to finish that note. That's how hot it was. That literally a note that takes 30 seconds to write became a monumental challenge. The analogy I like to give for heat like that is think back to when you were in high school and you were dating a girl and her parents did not approve, right? And maybe she was home alone. You came over and her parents were just on their way home and you had to scram out of there. And it doesn't matter if you can't find your key. You lost your key in the sofa. You got to get out of there and push your car home before you can worry about that, right? The hot weather sometimes has a feeling like that same kind of vibe, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.